Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 30 of Stoppage Time Talk. I'm your host, Max Pemington, here with my good friend,
Kevin Liu.
Well, Kevin, it is episode 30, and I think it's fitting that we end on a round number, a nice kind of round number, 30 episodes, because it is our last episode of this show, at least for the time being. But yeah, most likely our last episode of the show here, at least for our time here at Northwestern, last episode. And I don't know, Kevin, how are you feeling for our last episode? I think I'm still trying to process it all, but how are you feeling for our last episode here?
It's unreal. Unreal that it's been through like 8 months or so, right?
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, about 7 months, yeah.
7 months, it's like a majority of our program time here at Medill. I still remember the time that you recorded an idea that you wanted to do the soccer episodes, like a podcast episode in Medill, and you reach out to me and say, okay, I'm down for it.
Yeah, let's give a quick shout out to Ryan Hinsky and Caleb Bunch for first starting 303 Sports.
Yeah.
They have both moved on. They're not in Chicago anymore. They have moved on from the program. Me and Kevin have been recording through the summer. Man, shout out to Ryan and Caleb. I mean, they had just kind of this idea that they pitched to in our sports commentary class with Jay Donde. Any listeners who are ESPN historians know about JA on Around the Horn. He's the head of our sports media program here at Northwestern. One day, Kevin and I were in the same sports commentary class with him in fall of 2025.
Yeah.
Ryan and Caleb came in one class, even though they weren't taking a class, and they pitched the idea that they just wanted to start like a kind of a group for all the sports media specialization, students. And they did TV shows, and they had the website with written articles, and they started the podcast network. I mean, we've had so many podcasts. You can check me out on the baseball podcast, Infield Fly with Tommy and Jonah. We had football podcasts that Colin and Ryan Curtin did. I mean, we did our soccer podcast. I know that we had our women's sports podcast. I mean, we had a really good group of podcasts going. Obviously, me and Kevin have kept going through the summer, and Ryan and Caleb moved on. I mean, shout out to them for starting this. Kind of gave us the platform we needed to do our podcast.
Yeah, this platform should be inherited to the next generation of students here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like the idea of 303 Sports, I do hope continues to go on of just students able to kind of do their own thing and take this idea of, just the student media here within our building at 303 East Wacker for the Northwestern MSJ students. And it's a wonderful idea, and I really want to give a shout out to Ryan and Caleb for starting this. I mean, it's been a huge boost for us. It's been a wonderful place for us to host our podcast and to, have a platform for us. And I mean, shout out to everyone that, started it and helped us get off the ground. I mean, it was a huge, huge boost, and we really appreciate it.
We appreciate it,
Yeah. Well, Kevin, last week we did a little preview of the top 4 teams. We did, obviously, Liverpool, Man United, City, and Arsenal, kind of predicting that the teams were at the top last year, where they're going to finish. We all agree they'll be good again. We're not quite sure. There'll probably be some movement. I, for one, don't think Arsenal's going to repeat, even though they did just beat up City really bad in the FA Community Shield, because, man, that was really one-sided.
Yeah.
The 3-0 loss, boy, that was one-sided. I mean, let's not put too much weight into the Community Shield. Also, Kevin, I sent you that Instagram post of the team that wins the FA Shield, Community Shield, really never wins the league. So I don't know if that's like a trend that's going to continue. For the Arsenal haters, I'm sure you all hope it will continue. But we also want to touch on today 2 teams that are within the Big Six, but man, just were not very good last year, that being Chelsea and Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, we talked about, had a pretty good start to the season. They kind of stumbled a bit in the new year. They sacked Maresca, who's now the city manager. They hired Liam Rosenier, who won his first 5 games. That was a funny little coincidence because him and Carrick aligned with winning their first 4 games, unbeaten as the managers of their new team that took over at the same time within the new year of 2026. After that, Chelsea just fell off a cliff, just really, really poor. They couldn't buy goals. They were getting shut out every single game, it seems like, in April and May. Couldn't score to save their lives. They ended up finishing 10th. Rosenier was fired. And then for the permanent manager position, they brought in Xabi Alonso, who was obviously fired from Real Madrid mid-season last year. Madrid obviously now back to basics with Jose Mourinho. But, I mean, Chelsea's definitely been a club that's willing to spend money, and that hasn't changed with Xabi in charge now. I mean, Morgan Rogers is a big signing, but then what I think is most interesting, Kevin, is that they brought in Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson. And I'm curious as to what you think, because these are guys who are just old. Let's just say, I mean, they're very old. They're not young at it by any stretch.
Yeah, let's say.
And just, man, that, sure. But potentially like a good veteran presence to have.
Yeah, I would say if you put it into today's free agency markets and transfer windows, they definitely just had no values to be hyped on. But coming to Chelsea, the context would be just different because what Chelsea's been desperately need and the lessons that should be taken from last season is that they are too young and too emotional. There's like no consistency on all the aspects of the whole organization, either on the managerial level and also inside the locker room. So I guess bringing, especially Henderson, he's been proving a lot of leadership experience with Liverpool and also last season with
Brentford
as well. And he's still there, especially in the lower level of the Premier League, and still there to play as a midfielder. Coming to Chelsea, he might not get a lot of minutes, but being there in the locker room to be like a secondary coach or secondary support alongside Xabi Alonso, it would be like a big deal for Chelsea because they really need a veteran to support, even though just by words. That might be huge for like a relevant young Chelsea team, I would say. Also for Welbeck, I guess that'll be a great booster for the Chelsea's forward, I guess. Because even though it's being I think he still had like a consistent minutes with the Brightons in the past 3 years and past 2 seasons.
Pretty solid, at least.
Pretty solid, yeah. It's been solid. And Welbeck has getting a lot of notice like at the age, I guess it's over 30. He came to like a secondary prime or something. It's been a product by Man United, right? And back in the day.
Yep, he was with United from 2008 till 2014.
Yeah, which is like unpolished product at a time. But now, actually, it's a fun time for Welbeck to see if he can support Chelsea in either like a back and forth bench role or either become like a starting lineup. I guess I have more stakes on Welbeck, actually.
I mean, so Welbeck's stats for this past Premier League season, 37 appearances and 13 goals for Brighton. I mean, that's really, really good. That's good. I mean, that is very good.
Like,
I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That is nothing to scoff at. That is quite good.
He didn't have, like, outside of age, he didn't have any other concerns about like a injury-prone situation and also aging. I don't see any aging. I just feel like he's getting there. Like,
I mean, the guy's 35 and not showing any huge signs of, being super slow or slowing down a whole lot. I mean, like, obviously probably doesn't have quite the same sprain as he did with United back in, now just about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, we're from 2008, 2026 is 18 years. We're, talking about 20 years away from your Premier League debut, roughly. I mean, he's still looking pretty good. I mean, like, good enough to Chelsea gave him a 2-year contract, so they have some faith that he's like still got a bit of gas left in the tank.
Yeah.
I mean, same with Henderson. I mean, like, I thought Henderson would just kind of fade away within Saudi Arabia, and to his credit, has played really well at Brentford this past season. I mean, we can nitpick whether or not he deserved the spot within the English team. Obviously, he didn't play much and then had one of the weirdest injuries of all time of jumping over the boards and breaking your arm. Of truly one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen within a game of soccer in my entire life.
Yeah. Truly
weird. But I mean, Chelsea, like you just kind of mentioned, Kevin, I think just like lacked a lot of leadership in ways last season. We look at some of the guys of Estévão and Cole Palmer who are quite young and very good, but just like haven't found consistency. I mean, especially Cole Palmer, who was just amazing in 2023 into 2024, leading into the Euros, was really good again, very, very good again in the fall of 2024. This past season of 2025 into 2026, just really not healthy at all. Just couldn't find much form.
No.
Left out of the squad by the World Cup. I think that was maybe a little short-sighted, but just left out of the English World Cup squad. I mean, like there needs to be some people to kind of give him some support, Kevin, like you mentioned. And I think Welbeck and Henderson, while they may not really play a lot, are going to, I think, add some value to that. I mean, especially seemingly if you're Chelsea, you really don't care much about money. They're willing to spend quite a lot of money for anybody, given the signing of Morgan Rogers, who we should also touch on. I mean, that was a huge signing. I mean, like beat out the fee for Elliot Anderson that, set the British record. A couple days later, Chelsea goes around to Morgan Rogers, pays Aston Villa a couple more million than the record fee that City had just set to buy Elliot Anderson. And I mean, now here's Morgan Rogers, and I like Morgan Rogers a lot. I think he did really, really well with the English World Cup team when he was available to play and got the chance to play. His cross into Anthony Gordon for the opening goal against Argentina in the semis was really, really well done. I think he's a very good player. Doesn't lose the ball much, is a really, really underratedly solid crosser. And I mean, is he worth a record fee? Probably not, but that's just kind of the market we live in nowadays.
Yeah, I would definitely say Rogers is really well-rounded could play as like a winger, could play as a midfielder, can sometimes help backing at the front as well. And we already checked the quality and the values from him during the World Cup. He had like a billion cross during like a clutch time games in the World Cup. Such a high stake.
Even the winning goal that Jude scored against Norway, it came in off a rebound of a really good shot from Morgan Rogers that the goalie wasn't able to just hold on to, and then Jude got that rebound for the winning goal in the quarters against Norway.
Yeah, he always had a really good scoring touch. Even though outside of World Cup, he's been proving some values there with Aston Villa definitely last season, and he's still young. That's a huge deal. He's still young. Like I think he's 23 or 22.
Yeah,
so,
he's definitely not older than 23 if I remember correctly. Yeah. He's got so much. Yeah, he's born in 2002, so he's 24 years old. Yeah, so just turned 24 recently. This cup out last month. He turned 24. Okay. And so that's a good player with a lot of upside. He's still very young. I mean, within Aston Villa, within the couple seasons he played, 85 appearances, 21 goals. Again, that's a pretty good marker for a guy who's not really there per se to score goals, but as a winger is always in the right position when he needs to be, is good at getting goal, is good at finishing shots when he has the opportunity, and is a really, really good crosser that I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is at that. I mean, like that cross into Anthony Gordon for the opening goal against Argentina was perfectly placed. It was a really, really high level, really well done cross, and if he can continue to do that at Chelsea, I think they will definitely not regret, spending record amount of money to sign him.
Yep.
And then on the defensive side as well, I want to talk about, because they have some key departures. Obviously, Cucurella. That's stuck in my head. Kevin and I have joked about this. It's just stuck in our head every time Cucurella comes up.
The best soccer memes. I think over 10 years.
Yeah, I think of soccer memes, General Mbappe is a great one. Cucurella with the cat is a great one. Those are pretty top two. Obviously, the memes with Gabriel missing the penalty have been great.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Probably top three. Maybe at the end of the show, Kevin and I will mention some more soccer memes that we've enjoyed in this course of the show. But I mean, the departure of Cucurella. Let's touch on Garnacho. I mean, like that guy can be like. I have not a lot of love for Alejandro Garnacho, given what he did for United of leaking stuff to the press and just kind of being a whiner, just a really not a team player. Unnecessarily high ego, given that his talent level didn't match what he kind of thought of himself. Not really that. Just an annoying figure, an annoying person. I'm sure to have on your team. Didn't do anything for Chelsea. United dumped him. Chelsea went to Chelsea, didn't do anything. Chelsea's dumped him. He's gone on to Aston Villa. I mean, and he's not necessarily bad. I mean, he's got some really good talent.
Yeah,
his overhead bicycle kick that he scored for United a couple of years ago, one of the better goals I've seen from a United player within the last, 5 to 6, 7 years or so. And he's not bad, but my God, just what a bad attitude for like a young player to have.
Yeah, he definitely had some good times with Man United at the time and being a winger, and he got a talent, he got a speed, and he has some scoring touch, but it just feeling surprised for me that how quickly he being fell off, being done by Man United, and then last season with Chelsea didn't do anything impressive. Now being dumped to Aston Villa, I saw there's a clip.
Yeah, season-long loan to Villa for 50 million euros. Yeah,
I saw the clip from one of Villa's preseason game, and he just like squandered one of the best chances during the game. I'm like, probably. That's done. That's done for him. I don't know. I don't see anything promising future from actually still pretty young player, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was a teenager when he first came onto the scene with Man United, so he's still quite young.
He's still pretty young. I know he also been selected to the Argentina roster back in the day when.
Yeah, so he's 22. So yeah,
only 22.
Yeah, and he just turned 22, so he's like freshly 22. Yeah,
he turned 22 and then being transferred for 3 clubs.
Yeah, from United to Chelsea to now Villa. I mean, just like can't stick anywhere, and it's like a guy who I think's got some good talent, but just seems to not find consistent form.
Yeah,
doesn't have a great attitude about not playing when he wants to play, and just not playing the position or not getting playing time, or disagreements with the manager. Has a poor attitude about it. Another important departure is Trevor Shabala, who did get some playing time in the World Cup for England. I thought no, he did not. I apologize. I was thinking of Gerald Kwanzaa. I apologize. Shabala he was named as a replacement for Tino Livramento from Newcastle, who got injured before the World Cup. I thought, did fine with Chelsea. I mean, wasn't necessarily, a world breaker. But I think, they're basically sold off some of the guys who I think they don't want on defense anymore to help fund, the £100+ million they've paid for Morgan Rogers. And I mean, they also got some defensive support too that we should kind of mention, of Maxence Lacroix from Palace. I mean, like, Palace is so interesting because they're like a mid-table club, but they've got some really good performers and guys who move up and do okay. Most notably, Eze, obviously, from Palace to Arsenal. I mean, think about, I feel like I mentioned this a lot, but just think of being a Palace fan and you haven't won a trophy for the entire 118 years of your club's existence. Then you win the FA Cup, and Eze was so great in that FA Cup final game 2 years ago against Man City. And just very, very, was really, really good all around. But so obviously, I always like guys from Crystal Palace. I think they get a really good, solid foundation. They play under who I think is probably the most underrated Premier League manager right now, of Oliver Glasner. Mm-hmm. And then they get to move on to bigger and better bigger clubs and clubs that have a better chance of finishing higher. And I do like that signing a lot of Lacroix. I think Palestra too is a pretty good signing. Chavaria. I mean, like, they kind of just dump. I mean, like, Shabala, Cucurella. We're kind of guys on the defensive back who got some solid amount of playing time for them. And I think, if we're just kind of given what they've spent for Rodgers and kind of how much they want to spend on other players, I think they just kind of had to sell them off.
Yeah, not just like a mind-blowing like signings, not like a mess around signing. Like with Alonso supervising that, I think more of those signings are more like making sense right now. Not just Morgan Rodgers like dumping a lot of money. It's just like they had a lot of like clear signings, like you mentioned, the defensive support. They got great guys from Crystal Palace and also Palestra from Atalanta. They've been proving themselves in defensive values, and which Chelsea really lacked of the last season when they fell off in the second half of the season. Yeah. So I guess it's been a clear mind and picking up great brain from Alonso right now during the off season. It's now what's the most important things coming right now approaching this season is how to make those new signings work for Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of turnovers in the rosters, in the squad, and maybe there will be like a new starting lineup and a new formation from Alonso for sure, because it's been like a tactical majestus, and there's been a lot of game plans like that to kind of mesh around those players. So I definitely had a lot of confidence with this team to see how they're going to mesh well, because Alonso is not terribly mediocre with the Real Madrid, but just like Real Madrid really wanted to achieve the top level at a time, so he got sacked.
We for sure mentioned this in past episodes that I feel, at least, and you agree, Kevin, that Xabi was treated not very fairly by Real Madrid. I think, obviously, dealing with Florentino, probably not the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. I mean, he's, a big personality who just says whatever the heck he wants to say and doesn't really tolerate much losing at all, doesn't really tolerate any space for people to kind of find themselves if they can't find immediate success. And Xabi was just not finding that success fast enough as Florentino wanted it, and he got the boot. I think that was unfair. I think, there's a lot of other issues that Madrid had that weren't Xabi's fault. Obviously, when you've got players sending each other to the hospital in locker room fights, that's not necessarily the manager's fault if your players and your team culture, they can't get along and, Tuchemani's punching Valverde and sending him to the Spanish hospital. Yeah. That's not Xabi's fault. I mean, just like, I think Vinny had some points where he wasn't really playing to his best abilities last season. Like, again, that's not necessarily Xabi's fault. I mean, but at the end of the day, everything falls back onto the manager when you're not succeeding, and that's just who the scapegoat's always going to be. Xabi just happened to be the scapegoat for Real Madrid this year for some of the kind of shortcomings they've had. And he got the boot, and I think, Chelsea was smart to get him when they could. And I think the big question, Kevin, is just, can he unlock more potential from the squad? That they've got some really good players. They spend plenty of money. They've got talent on that roster. And I think the big question is just, can Xabi unlock more potential from the squad? Can he get the guys to mesh together well? And I think the players I really want to keep a watch on, too, who are returning are obviously Cole Palmer, who is he going to get back to form where we know he can be, just an elite, top-level, Premier League Player of the Year caliber player when he's just scoring at his best level and assisting at his highest level. And then Estévão, too, who just had a really unfortunate injury luck after the Chelsea lost to Man United, and he just tore his hamstrings up. And unfortunate injury luck for him that, kept him out of the Brazil squad, probably is what gave Neymar the final spot. kind of given the lack there of that attacking player, Estévão, just a really unfortunate break for him. I think those are two guys that, like, those are players that I'm kind of want to watch who are not new signings but returning guys.
And also João Pedro.
Pedro, like the guy who probably should have gotten in over Neymar in the Brazil squad.
Correct that. It's extra Pedro to actually deserve that spot because last season I think he had 15 goals and 5 assists.
Pretty good,
That works. That definitely works a spot for the World Cup. But yeah, unfortunately, Brazil doesn't have that eye on him. But whatever it is, like aside from the transfers and something, Chelsea actually had a better roster, to be honest, which Alonso can really work on that, like a better foundation. They had, like you mentioned, Palmer as well, and then Pedro, Neto, and also for Enzo Fernandes as well. No matter how much you hate on him, but
I don't know if I don't know how much longer he's going to be around, man.
But whatever it is, he's been a backbone for the midfielder for Chelsea. So I guess Alonso's kind of keep high on him, and then also Casado as well. And these like 5 guys has been messed around for 1 season. So I guess coming this year with the new system, that this is one of the biggest agenda for Alonso to kind of work on, to kind of mesh them well in the starting lineup, to see how they generate the better offense in the Premier League, I guess.
To touch on Enzo really quick, Kevin, I'm just curious as to what his future is at Chelsea. There's been some rumors, obviously media rumors, especially in Europe, the European news cycle. Transfer rumors are always fabricated and just not always based in any real truth. Mm-hmm. There's been some rumors that Enzo will be wanting to leave, maybe go to one of the Spanish teams of Madrid or Barcelona, or maybe just one of the big 2 Spanish clubs. I'm curious if that happens. We know Chelsea's willing to just sell off some players who have been with them for a while, just given the amount of money they spent on Morgan Rogers, and they want to make sure they're not going to, fall into any financial issues. I'm curious as to whether Enzo leaves. There has been some rumblings. The fans are very much against him. He's not an easy guy to get along with. He got booed by the Chelsea home fans in their friendly a couple of days ago. Obviously, he's, killed him. He's just destroyed all goodwill he can have anywhere in England with the World Cup performance of obviously the goal and then holding up the Falkland Islands, political message flag. And then the Chelsea fans brought in the British territorial Falkland Islands flag and then waved it around when he came on and booed him, when he touched the ball. The fans don't want him there. No one in England, every fan base in England just hates this guy with a living passion. I think it's a good enough time for him to just leave and for Chelsea to cash out on him.
Yeah, probably is a movable player for sure. It's it's probably a potential clocking bombs for Chelsea's locker room, which they desperately.
How do you what does Jordan Henderson want to do with this guy after seeing him?
They definitely need
just
to
be so obnoxious to the team after the win after they beat them.
Which Henderson would care about a locker room environment and also.
Henderson's in the English team too to be kind of their main guy in the locker room. So I'm sure he was not happy with kind of the statements Enzo Fernandez has made and also, after the game, and on top of the fact that he wants to make sure the team gets along well. And, Enzo's not particularly not a very easy guy to like and get along with. He's made that, he doesn't hide that.
And also Alonso is a guy that cares about the locker room as well. So let's see. Probably they will not sell in by the end of this window, but probably during the season.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah, it's very possible. We'll see how that goes. And we'll see if Enzo can really finally buy into Alonso's idea to keep playing throughout the season to find his position as well.
I'm just curious as well what you think of Chelsea, kind of expectations for Chelsea. We kind of agreed before the show, Kevin. I think they want to be competitive again, and I think if they were to get back in the Champions League, I think the fans would be happy with that. I think that's maybe just kind of expectations to stop, kind of falling out of the top 4, out of the top 5, like they have more often than not the last couple seasons. And I think they'd like to really be back in the Champions League. Obviously, they were back last year and did fine, okay. But I think just for kind of the collapse we saw at the end of last season for them is just not really acceptable to what the players want, to what the ownership wants, and to what the fans want. And I think they really expect to be back within the Champions League this coming season. And I think they've got a good enough roster to do it. I do think it really comes down to what Xabi can do to get these guys to mesh, but I have faith in him. I think he was treated pretty unfairly by Madrid, to be honest, and I do expect that Chelsea will be able to finish in the top 4 to top 5 to get back into the Champions League. And it wouldn't shock me if they win one of the domestic trophies. But, I mean, I don't think they'll win the league. And I don't think, obviously, they're not competing in Champions League. No European soccer, but I think, they have a pretty good chance to get back into the top 4, top 5, and then, still have as good a chance as any team to get, a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup.
Yeah, top 5 would be my expectation for this team, and also maybe one of the trophy. I guess it was one of the trophies domestically was something they really trying to chase for, just to like you just have to have a really good resource to see how much you change for the past years, and then you definitely need a resource or something, either top 5 or like one of the trophies from Carabao Cup or FA Cup would be something that could compensate the whole fan base, I guess.
Yeah, and I do think they will get within the top 5. Again, we don't know if the top 5 will be good enough for Champions League or if we'll have to go back. If some of the Premier League teams don't do as well, will it go back to top 4, which it usually is. Seemingly Arsenal and one of Arsenal and City always advances far enough to expand that to the top 5 teams. So I imagine that's going to be the case again next year for Chelsea, and then that'll give Chelsea a little more breathing room to get back in the Champions League. Talk about another team that was really disappointing last season. Boy, Tottenham was just we talked about Tottenham so much, Kevin, throughout the course of this podcast, given that they almost got relegated. And it was crazy for us to watch a big club with so much money that is willing to spend a pretty solid amount and just completely suck. Like nothing, like they were terrible at the end of the year. Credit to Zerbi, he got them. But from game 1 up through, really through late March, they just sucked. And there was no, they just flat out freaking sucked. And there's no other way to put it. They were just awful on so many stretches. Through Thomas Frank, never got anything Gordon. Eager Tudor. If it wasn't for that draw against Liverpool with Richarlison, I mean, they might have got sent down. That might have just been the nail in the coffin to send him down. Tudor lost every single game outside of the one draw that he managed when he's brought in to replace Thomas Frank. They gave him the boot and brought in Roberto De Zerbi. I honestly thought Tudor on paper would be a better manager to save him from relegation than De Zerbi, but credit to De Zerbi, he proved me wrong. I didn't think De Zerbi would. I said he would do okay, but they would still just not quite be able to beat out West Ham to avoid relegation. Obviously, I was wrong. West Ham was not able to quite make it, and they got relegated, given that Spurs actually did okay at the end of the season, got the win again, or they draw against Everton? Obviously they avoided losing against Everton outright to get relegated.
I think that's the one.
It came down to the final game of the season. Because West Ham won their last game. If Everton had outright beat Tottenham, then they would have sent him down. And luckily,
one win away from the relegation.
Yeah, truly, if Everton maybe took that game a little more seriously, we would be talking about Tottenham down to the championship as well. So maybe caught a bit of a break there of Everton not really having anything to play for at the end of the season.
No, really. Yeah.
Just I guess how the schedule works out is how it works out. And ultimately, West Ham got sent down. Spurs avoided relegation. And they really want to make sure they're not in that position again this season because they've spent quite a lot of money. £250 million this offseason. Bloody hell, man, that's a lot.
I never saw Spurs spend that money during the levy regime, right?
No, not really.
During the levy,
they were willing to spend, but not quite
willing to
that
spend
much.
Quite that much. They
still bought guys, but just not quite that much money.
They're always known for bargaining the price. You remember, and then at the same time, they're always selling their own products.
Yeah.
During the levy era. The guy from Harvard University. Shout out to Harvard University, though.
Yeah. Obviously, Harry Kane has sold off. Son retired. Just a lot of guys who are gone. Yeah, a lot of guys who are gone.
They've been bargaining.
Dele Alli.
They're always bargaining and not willing to spend a lot of money to buy them players. And now come to the new regime. I'm really glad. I'm actually glad. I'm really glad. I'm not a fan of Spurs. I'm glad that they're trying to change this year. A lot of major signings taking over the headlines. And Tonali, the guy that you'd always love from
Tonali, Tonali and Guimaraes. Of all Newcastle's issues last season, the midfield was not one of them. And now Tonali and Guimaraes gone, sold off. A lot of money taken in by Newcastle there for those two guys. But Tonali sold off for a lot of money. I believe £90 million or something like that. A huge amount, a big fee for Tonali. Signed Andy Robertson, Kevin, your guy, for free transfer.
My favorite vice president. Vice captain of Liverpool back in the days, and then got a free transfer to Spurs. I think this is one of the biggest steals in this offseason, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious. I like Robertson. I thought he was good last year. My God, I think he was really bad in the World Cup. Maybe it was just Scotland as a team because everyone on that team outside of John McGinn decided to like seemingly not show up for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Which like I kind of ranted about Scotland when they got eliminated from the group stage, and Steve Clark made the right decision by stepping down because like that team was not ready to play in the World Cup and they did not have a singular good game. I mean, even the game they won against Haiti, they were really poor in a lot of aspects. The only guy who showed up to play was McGinn. I mean, credit to McGinn, great Premier League player, great player at Villa. I mean, like McTominay didn't show up, Andy Robertson didn't show up. Yeah. And like I'm curious as to how he plays with Spurs because he did not show up in the World Cup at all.
Well, probably World Cup doesn't really count because it's just about a team. They probably Scotland has a lot of like glaring gaps between them and also the world Cup teams. It's been their first time in 20 years, so
they had to play Morocco and Brazil, which is not easy.
Systematically they are not ready for that, but individually, it's always good for any single Premier League, especially the Spurs that need a lot more leadership. I guess Robertson would be a great fit, and adding out Tonali as well. And these two guys can be working back and forth in the midfield. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. And Robertson also had a really good passing as well. So him and Tonali being in the midfield could be. It would just be really intimidating for me, actually. Having Tonali there and the Robertsons there in the back to defend and having Tonali there to attack, I think it's really the best duel.
Yeah, I mean, Tonali's a very good attacking midfielder. I mean, he scored the opening goal in the Newcastle versus Chelsea game that I saw in person in May of last year. Van Hecke was signed as well. Good defender. Senesi too. I mean, Mateus Fernandes. I mean, like they outbid United for him. I mean, that was Carrick's probably main guy who we wanted to come into the midfield for Man United, and then Spurs just outbid Man United and spent a ton of money on Mateus Fernandes.
They outbid so many teams
and they've outbid a lot. I mean, for Tonali and Mateus Fernandes, they outbid your Man United's, your Arsenal. I don't know if Arsenal, but they've outbid Man United's and City and Liverpool and just other guys who are interested in Tonali and Mateus Fernandes. I mean, overall, £250 million this offseason. That is a huge number. And, you got to hope that translates to something because, I mean, what if you spend that much and you still finish, like 11th or 12th? I don't think so. I'm not quite ready to say Spurs is going to get back in the top 4, top 5, but like if they're out of top 10, that's going to be embarrassing for some people there.
I guess number 6 would be like at least
6 to 7, 8. Yeah. It was within the top 10. I feel like that's some good progress given just how badly they just seemed last year, how bad they seemed last year.
Yeah, definitely need to regroup like everything. I've been saying a lot of times in the last season they really need to regroup something. That's what the Zerbi first mission when he came to as a takeover, as caretaker for the last few games. And of course, the Zerbi did a great job to regroup the whole group, even though the group has been sucks for the whole year. Yeah. Completed missions for avoiding relegating. So I guess the Zerbi can work beyond that with a better group to get a better identity of the team, great culture, and environment as well. Because he's been successful with Brighton a few years ago, having such a establishing team and then cracking into number 6 spots for the Brighton team to play in a European level. That's surprising for me.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And I think, they've got some good returning players as well. Pedro Porro was really good within the World Cup fan event. I still think is quite good.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious where the goals are going to come from because I've never liked Richarlison. The guy plays one good game a year for them. I'm just kind of I still don't quite know where Tottenham's going to find some of the goals this season. That might be an issue for them.
That would be an issue for them because they really need to find a a steady striker with at least 15 goals a season.
But there's no one who's come in to replace Kane or Son in terms of goal scoring. I don't hate Richarlison. I just don't think he's particularly elite. And he plays at this rate, he plays 1 or 2 good games overall for them per season.
And then Kulusevski and Solanke has been injury prone for the year.
Yeah, and they're not even necessarily there as prime goal scorers. Yeah. Kulusevski, when Harry Kane played, was in there to send really good crosses in and kind of dinks into the box to hope Kane could finish or Son could finish. And
Solanke actually had a really good touch.
Actually, I think Solanke's a good goal scorer. I think there's
being there all the time.
Yeah, I think they do lack some goal scoring depth. I think Tonali is a good goal scoring midfielder, but I still think they lack some goal scoring depth there, and I think that could be a bit of an issue for them.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of interested. When it kind of comes in, maybe James Madison finally stays healthy. We just touched on, obviously, Kulusevski and Solanke and James Madison. I think guys were pretty good, but, just just like I'm kind of intrigued as to how they do with like kind of lack of strikers.
That's why
a lot of their goal scorers that we talked about, Kulusevski and Solanke, Madison, those guys are injured. And man, I just don't. Richarlison isn't that great, to be honest. Xavi Simon too. I'm not super duper high on per se. I think they might struggle to score some goals this year, but I don't think they'll be in threat of getting relegated again. I'd be really actually surprised if they somehow manage to be in danger of relegation.
That would be unacceptable if they still stick around the relegation mod. That would be unacceptable. Like you spend like 250 million pounds this fall season and still being in the spot that you guys struggled for the last season.
And then with goalkeepers too, I know Vicario's. Let's touch on departures too, because Vicario's left, Romero is left, and Spence is left. So a lot of new faces within the back line. Obviously, Romero was the captain. He's been gone. Obviously, I think again, one of the other Argentine players who didn't do himself any favors with playing an English club now. Following the World Cup, obviously, I think Romero is like a terrible captain. I mean, the guy got red carded. It seems like every other game. Obviously, that's exaggerating, but it's like for being a captain, you're supposed to help your team out. The guy got red carded so often. I think a really dirty player, an unlikable guy. Good riddance to him. Screw off. I mean, like they had to play with 10 men way too often because their captain did a stupid challenge. Jed Spence, even though he had some great moments for England in the World Cup, especially the tackle after the opening goal against Argentina, he was not very good for Spurs last year. Couldn't find consistent playing time. Vicario too, had some bad moments. I think they might have some. So it's funny. Spurs' midfield, I think, with Tonali and Mateus Fernandes is going to be really, really good. I think the back line with Porro and Van de Ven will be pretty good. Maybe they'll have to plug some holes, but like, they're going to have a really, really high-level midfield, and I think there's going to be a drop-off then to the back line that's going to have some new guys, plus like just the lack of available strikers. And then like, I'm not sure, do you know off the top of your head, Kevin, who the goalie for them is probably going to be next season? Is it going to be that Kinski guy probably?
Kinski, yeah.
So it's going to be Kinski, who was just awful in that one Champions League game was god-awful. I mean, no offense to Kinski. I'm sure he'll do fine, like very okay. I'm sure he'll do relatively fine this season. But like, I mean, like he's not Lloris by any stretch.
Yeah, it's definitely just like a growing pain for Kinski.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be growing pains for Kinski. I think there's going to be growing pains for the new guys on the back line. And I think they just lack available strikers. But man, their midfield on paper is going to be really, really good.
That's why they really have to work on their midfield because the midfield has been world class, really bad, really, really best. Like
I mean, that is truly the best position they have on that squad, and I don't think it's particularly close.
I've been hearing a lot of rumors that they've been chasing the city's Savinho. It's a really good winner from the city side, so I guess that would be.
They want to add. I mean, I feel like they should try to add some more attacking players while they can within the last couple of weeks of our summer transfer window here. I mean, there's still some holes on this team. I mean, granted, maybe I'm nitpicking a bit because like no team is perfect, but like compared to an Arsenal or City, there's definitely way more holes on Tottenham compared to Arsenal or City, or maybe even Man United or Chelsea, just because they've got a little more depth on the roster. And I think we just saw the lack of depth from Spurs last year when they just kind of were flailing around for 90% of the season before they saved themselves at the end. And I think it's really hard to fix that all within one window, and within just a couple months of the new manager and Zerbi kind of having a chance to implement what he wants. And, I think they're still pretty good. I think they've still got some really good players, but I don't think they're going to finish top 5. I don't think they'll qualify for Champions League. I say they finish somewhere between 6 and 10. Okay. I think that's kind of my solid, immediate, this is my prediction for Spurs, somewhere between 6 and 10. If they fall out of the top 10, and if they're like mid-table or even close to the bottom of it, again, that's like, I don't know. They need to get like a priest to do an exorcism on the club because they just must be cursed at that point if they're this bad again.
I would say it would be a huge change for them because considering that amount of money they've been spent, so I guess 6th would be like ideal spots for them. Yeah. If all the things work well, if they can keep healthy, especially the original player is actually really good. James Madison, Kulusevski, Solanke. If they keep doing well and keep healthy, they actually had a really good depth of the roster. So I guess 6th would not be the bad take.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they do really well and Zerbi ends up being like a better manager than we all anticipated, they could push for 5 or 4. Yeah. Given that, I think that's a really, really high-level midfield. I just don't quite trust the depth of this team with some of the injury history of James Madison, Kulusevski, and Solanke as well. Yeah. That kind of gives me some pause, but I just, even with that, I think they're still good enough to finish 6-10. Maybe And if they stay healthy, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they make a push to be within the top, 5 or so.
Yep.
I'm just not quite willing to say that given some of the just the injury history.
Yeah.
On top of the fact, even with the guys being healthy, I don't see anyone who's going to be a really, really prime, he's the guy we're going to rely on to score goals, or he's the guy who's going to be our best goal scorer and our best finisher. I just don't see that on the roster because I'm not particularly. I've never been high on Richarlison, and he hasn't given me any reason to be high on him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy plays one good game a year. He's never going to make the Brazil team again. Like Ancelotti thinks very little of him, if anything, of Richarlison. And I just don't see him scoring a whole ton this year.
Yeah.
But I think they will finish somewhere between 6 and 10, and I think that's a pretty good improvement. Given they'll have a pretty good chance to make the Europa League or make the Europa Conference League, they'll have a very good chance to do that. And I think that's a huge improvement from almost being relegated to then making European Premier League, being a Premier League team to make European soccer next season.
Yeah, that would be a huge goal for them to at least get back on track.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin, I think to wrap up here, we're going to do our official season top 5 predictions. So I'm going to let you go, Kevin. We kind of have the same ideas, but different orders. So I'm going to let you kick us off with our official top 5, Kevin.
So my official top 5 is Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, and Chelsea. For Arsenal, we've been touched on that. They didn't spend a lot of it. But coming to today, they just got Konsa.
Oh, yes. I saw. I really wanted to. Sorry, I'm just going to interject really quick, Kevin. It's so unfair for me as a Man United fan. I'm just going to kind of gripe my own personal beef here for a second, out my own personal grievances here for a second. It really annoys me how Arsenal can just seemingly shop the Premier League on discount of getting guys for getting a really high level midfielder like Guimaraes for not a record fee from Newcastle, getting Konsa for a very affordable fee, of just getting these guys for affordable fees. Meanwhile, once Man United inquires for a guy, the price goes up automatically £20 million because of our name, and then we get screwed out of guys, and Arsenal buys them on freaking discount. Sorry, kid, just go keep going.
Yeah,
I mean, what a joke of a transfer market. Soccer as a whole is.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but Arsenal actually just being there as a silent tiger, and then capitalize on the chances with the steal. So I guess Konsa would be the huge deal for them, and adding that they had a Guimaraes as well. So we talk about the predictions that Arsenal might not spend a lot of money, just keep their foundation because it's been doing good. Yeah. But for now, they've been better on their foundations right now because they. At the end of a transfer window, they started to spend some establishing money for a better roster. So I wouldn't say I didn't see any reasons why they not fell off the first spots again. So I guess I'll just put them in first. And then for Man City, we talk about a Community Shield, and it's been a lopside down game for Man City for the 3-0 loss from Maresca. I don't have faith on Maresca, but definitely we'll give him some time to fix that because he already had a better rosters here than Man City, and it's always been the self-adjustive game for Man City. They already had good players there, and you can't look down to Erling Haaland for creating a lot of goals and scoring touches, and it's been so dangerous teams for years. So I guess the foundation's there. It's just another coaching change. Definitely have to work on the coaching transition from Maresca from Pep era to here right now. Yeah. And Liverpool, I actually would say putting them to 4 or even 5 would not be surprised because it's still the establishing and transitional year for Liverpool. And
don't quite know what Iraola is capable of yet. Yeah, as a new manager.
Iraola will be good for Liverpool for sure because the style and anything.
Yeah, it's way more to Klopp's style. Yeah,
and the cops like him, and it's just the players will really get into that because he already mentioned the physical problems for Liverpool during the Slots era. They cannot run over the 30 minutes. That's a huge thing for me actually. I mean, man, you've been doing the pressing, you've been doing aggressive running scheme, but you cannot run over 30 minutes. That's where your injuries problems come from. So
guys just aren't used to that much of the physical strain. Yeah, if
they can solve that, and then coming from also some players coming back with healthy Ekitike, Isak, that would be better. But also some concerns about their back line as well, and also it's being imbalanced in their squad because there's not many not many good players from their right side. And then coming today, the news dropped. Curtis Jones, the academy guy from Liverpool, is transferred to Inter Milan. So it might be a little bit concerned for me as well, even though we got Elliott back from loan, but not enough player on the right side, either on the front and on the back. And we obviously don't know how great those players can replace either Salah and there Robertson on the right and also Curtis Jones as well. We used to have a good depth, but now the depth becomes one of the concerns for Liverpool in only 3 days and 4 days away from the Premier League season.
Yeah. And then do you want to finish out with Man United? Yeah, do you want to finish out, Kevin?
And then Man United, if they had good signings, they definitely can be like a top 3. But unfortunately, they didn't do much in the offseason because I do like Carrick and also I do like his system. So, but not impressed. The signings there in the offseason, during the transfer window, wasn't that impressive enough for me. So it didn't convince me, but still could be like a solid top 5 spots for me if Carrick can do better like either reshaping the team culture as well and also the tactical play to kind of rejuvenate some players from Man United side. That'll be great. And then Chelsea, just simple logic there. Given that how much money they're been spent, the change should be like unchanged. Things should be unacceptable. So they definitely need a huge jump from where they are from last season to get back on track and be to like a top flight competitive team again.
Yeah, I agree with basically everything you said, Kevin. And so I'll go through mine. And so I'm going to start with Man City finishing at the top. I've touched on last week as well that I tend to just not like predict teams to repeat to win the league. Granted, we've seen that, City just did a three-peat within, a couple of years. Not that long ago, City capped off a three-peat of Premier League titles. But, granted, I mean, just like, what Man City kind of was under Pep at just some of the high levels they achieved. I think we're just not going to see that, in the next couple of years, just given that, Pep's no longer there. That's just I think it's so rare to see a guy do that to achieve at levels like a Pep or Sir Alex Ferguson. We rarely see that. And I don't think we're going to see that, by one of the new guys coming in now that Pep is gone. And I don't think Maresca's, really going to be at that level as well. But given that, I just don't like to predict teams to win the league. I think, Arsenal really needed a lot of things to go right. They had a lot of fortunate set piece. They had a lot of fortunate calls from VAR, regarding said set pieces, allowing and disallowing goals. And I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of kind of like holes within Arsenal's roster, but I think I really dislike predicting teams to repeat. I think Man City's still really good. I mean, they got up and tied Arsenal late in the season, and then Arsenal, to their credit, just kind of was able to close out and not drop any points at the ends when we were so used to seeing them do that, kind of bottling the league, as we always like to say. City just kind of wasn't able to keep up with that, and they still did fine at the end of the season, but just wasn't quite able to keep up with Arsenal, who actually locked in to maintain to go win the league. And just so I think, Man City, I'm going to predict number 1. I think, Arsenal's still really good. I'm admittedly questioning a little more after seeing Arsenal just kill Man City in the Community Shield, but I think I shouldn't flip-flop after my prediction last week. I feel like I should just stay committed to what I predicted. And I'd be such a flip-flopper, kind of like just going with the wind. If I then decided to change my prediction and say Arsenal's going to win. I mean, the Community Shield's a Community Shield. It's a good warm-up match. We don't have to put too much weight in it. So I'll say that, and I think Arsenal really it was really their season last year, had a lot of things go their way in terms of, just set piece goals and all that. So, and I think it's just, outside of, City primetime Pep, I don't think Arsenal's quite at that level to where I'm going to be confident in them to repeat as league champions. So we'll go Man City 1, Arsenal close behind it 2. Again, very few gaps. I'm going to put Man United at 3. I think they'll be about the same as they were last year. I think Carrick will be able to have a good, consistent season. I think Cunha is really good. Obviously, Mbemo, I like him a lot. Bruno's coming off one of the best seasons we've ever seen of any Premier League player ever, setting the assist record. Who else am I thinking of? Kobe Mainoo, I think, will do really well after having a good reinvigoration under Carrick. I think Harry Maguire's still pretty good. I think Lisandro Martinez can stay healthy. He's good. They just signed Carlos Baleba, who I think, even though he had a bad season kind of last season, is still has some good potential in him. Tielemans is a really good signing, as well as Andre Santos. Looks like he was a really good underrated signing from Chelsea. I think they'll have a really good midfield next year. I think they'll have plenty of guys who can score. With Sesko and Mbemo, Cunha, maybe even Ahmad can find some form again as well. Their backline gives me some pause. As you mentioned, Kevin, they haven't made enough signings, and they need to sign some defensive guys. I mean, if they don't sign good backline guys, this could be a season that, they have a couple bad games and things kind of go off the rails for them, and they could be finishing, 7th, 8th, 9th or so if, they can't, if their backline doesn't, hold up, with the current players. I would really I don't think they're going to get Lewis Hall, but they need to get some reinforcement on the back line. If they do and things really mesh, they could push a little further up to maybe for into league contention. But at the current state of things, I think they'll kind of stay where they were last year, around 3 to 4. I think they'll be pretty interchangeable. Liverpool, as you said, Kevin, I don't know what to make of Liverpool and Areola. He's definitely closer to Klopp's style, which I think will do better. They won't play as much, like Haram ball and kind of passing the ball around and never running, never making runs as they did under Arne Slot. So I think, Liverpool, still a really good roster. I think, I would like to see Isak play a full season to see what he's capable of if he meshes with Florian Wirtz. We also touched on that last week. So I think Liverpool and Man United will both be pretty good and, sitting around kind of that, 2 to 3 to 4 spot. So I have Man United 3, Liverpool 4. Behind them, Chelsea, we kind of agree in the same spot on Chelsea, Kevin. I think this is a good roster that will do better under Xabi. And I think, given the money they spend and some of the talent they have, I don't think they're going to win the league for sure. I'm not going to, but this is a team that's very capable of finishing, within the top 4, within the top 5. And then, I think that, so that about rounds it out. Cool. Well, Kevin, do we want to give our official farewell to our audience here?
Oh my God, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning to our half of the year live show. And it's been a great platform to providing us the good way to kind of speak about our fandom in soccer. Obviously, it's been pretty ignorant in the whole American sports vibe here. But coming to the World Cup, we kind of capitalize on that. And it's been generating a lot of good ratings in our stats back behind the scenes. So I guess really appreciate it, guys. Either you're tuning to only one episode for the World Cup or anything about the Premier League. Really appreciate you guys to listen to our voice, chatting about our fandom and also our analysis to the Premier League status at a time last season. So it's really unfortunate we cannot cover the next season coming up this week. But it's been like really fun season too. Fun soccer season, either the World Cup and either the Premier League as well. Yeah.
So again, I do want to, as like Kevin said, I really want to thank all of our listeners, everyone who kind of paid attention to us, anyone who came to hear us rant about soccer, about whether it's World Cup or the Premier League. I mean, like kind of doing this podcast with Northwestern at our 303 Sports here for our students. It was just such a great platform for me and Kevin to kind of, have this fandom that, not a whole lot of other, even in our program, not a whole ton of other soccer fans who really follow it that close in terms of the Premier League and the other leagues and international play. And for Kevin and I to have this platform to kind of talk about our passion, for us to kind of just have time to talk with each other too, just back and forth, gave Kevin and me a platform to just talk back and forth about our fandoms and our thoughts about what's happening within the world of soccer. And it was just so fun to do. I mean, this was always like easily one of the best parts of my week, one of the best hours of my week of just coming in and getting to be with Kevin and the other guests who we've had and just talk soccer and just kind of, forget about other things, forget about our classwork and job applications and things like that. And just, focus on the sport that, we really enjoy and that we really love as fans. And so we appreciate everyone who supported us. We appreciate the 303 staff so much who have supported us in the podcast and kind of helped us along. All of our listeners, we appreciate you so much. Just everyone who's given us some of the time out of their day to listen or just even watch our social media content. We really appreciate all of our guests. I know we had Jonah and Monique on. We appreciate them coming on and spending some of their time with us as well, especially during the World Cup. Covering the World Cup was so fun. We loved it. Covering the Premier League from the season, from the ups and downs to Arsenal almost bottling the league to them then finishing out to the Champions League final with the penalty miss, through all the World Cup matches, through them previewing this season. I mean, Kevin, we've had so many great moments and it's really been such a fun time for me and I'm honestly really going to miss it, but I'm glad that you had a chance to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that too. It's going to be inside forever in my memory as students.
Yeah, I mean, this will definitely be easily one of the most memorable things of our year here within Northwestern, and we're just so happy to have been able to do this. And yeah, we're gonna miss it a lot, but I think it was a fun thing for us to do, and a good thing that we were able to put together.
Yeah, the whole episode and the whole series kind of showed our friendship between each other, though.
Yeah. Just a banter back and forth, and Kevin and I are gonna miss it a lot. We don't know if we're not quite sure what the future holds for either of us with our job apps and possibly moving to different countries. I'm looking to go to the UK. Kevin may be going back to China, and then So I mean, we'll obviously keep people posted within YouTube accounts and things if we are able to do more content. But for the time being, we just appreciate all of the people who have helped us so much. It's been so fun. I'd have no regrets about this podcast. It's been so fun.
Me either.
Yeah. Well, I guess that does it for us. So signing off for the last time here from Northwestern, I'm Max Bevington.
Here with Kevin Liu.
Kevin, it's been such a great podcast. Thank you so much for everything you've done, and just it's good to I guess wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone.